Okay, thank you. Hope everyone enjoyed your lunch, and if you could take a seat, please. I got to read my script here. My name is Jerome Delvin, and I'm the Benton County Commissioner as well as an ECA member. I texted my wife before. I said, hey, I'm going to introduce Congressman Newhouse, and she said, well, make sure your zipper's up, because that's happened before. So I did check that. We're good to go. We're good to go. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Representative Dan Newhouse. Representative Newhouse is a lifelong resident of Central Washington and represents the 4th Congressional District. I got to tell you, when I first met Dan, he was a newly elected member of the State House of Representatives in the Washington State, and they signed me as his mentor. And so I gave him some, just good advice. Don't get up and speak on everything now that we have cameras in the house. You don't need to speak on everything, speak about what you're passionate about and make friends across the aisle and treat them like you'd want to be treated in the minority, and you'll be very successful. Then I gave him some practical advice, if you're in a hot tub at night with a lot of other cops and you're drinking and 4 scantily clad high school girls show up, time to leave the hot tub. Okay, just some practical advice. And then when you're in Olympia, and if you ever go downtown and the governor's there and you have a drink with the governor, just make sure you're less drunk than he is when you're driving back to the mansion. Okay? So, that's how I first met Dan. The congressman serves on the Appropriations Committee. He previously served, as I said, a legislator in the Washington State House of Representatives, representing the 15th Legislative District from 2003 to 2009. He then served as Director of Washington State Department of Agriculture from 2009 to 2013. Dan is a farmer in the Yakima Valley there, and he was appointed by a Democrat governor. ECA has worked with Congressman Newhouse on various occasions as he continuously advocates for environmental cleanup. We are grateful to have Congressman Newhouse provide some remarks today. ECA looks forward to working with him and as he collaborates with the community leaders and members of Congress. So please join me in welcoming Congressman Dan Newhouse.
That's why podiums were invented. You can't see my zipper, can you? As you can imagine, being or having the privilege of having Jerome Delvin as your mentor, it's amazing I got as far as I did, I think. But good advice was given at all angles. But it's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. Thanks for inviting me. And thank you, all of you, from coming from all over the country to have important conversations about a very important topic. It truly is. The cleanup work that is happening around the country. Well, let me just make this personal. When I was Director of Agriculture, as Jerome just intimated, there was a small leak of about this much material in a tank at Hanford. I think Y102 was the number of the tank. And wheat exports from the state of Washington to countries on the Pacific Rim stopped because everybody was freaked out that we were going to be just covered in nuclear material all through the Pacific Northwest. So this has the work that's being done to clean up the nuclear waste around the country is vitally important for so many reasons: environmental, economical, and just practical reasons. So that's one of the reasons I'm just very committed to getting this work accomplished. I understand that you heard from my subcommittee chairman, Chuck Fleshman. Was that yesterday? Chuck's a great chairman of the subcommittee from Oak Ridge, Tennessee area. I want you to help me to do something. I've invited Chuck to come to Hanford, Washington to see what's going on there firsthand. I think he's been there over the course of his career, but I wanted to come and see some of the progress that truly has been happening in New Richland. A lot of great things to be proud of, and so he is committed to coming. I've never been to Oak Ridge, so we're going to make a deal and both come to each other's district. So Hanford, Washington. Everybody's seen the movie Oppenheimer, right? And Richland, I don't think Richland was even mentioned in the movie, was it? They kept saying Pasco, Washington, which, you know, that's close, but certainly part of the history of the United States, the role that we were able to play, I wasn't even born yet, but our area was able to play in winning World War II, winning the Cold War, having a great role in the history of our country and the world, I should say. We're very proud of that in the Tri-Cities in Central Washington. We truly are. So proud of it, in fact, that our local high school, the Richland Bombers, as you probably know, uses a mushroom cloud as part of its mascot. It's a nuclear community. I'm not sure how many of those there are around the United States, but certainly the Tri-Cities in Washington State is. We're bullish on nuclear. We're proud of our history and excited about our future. Cleanup is going to get accomplished. It will happen. Probably won't be completed in any of our lifetimes, but it will happen. But we are very excited about the future as well. Some of the nuclear technologies that are coming online to provide clean, renewable energy is pretty exciting. And I think that is the future that we're looking forward to in Central Washington as being a big part of that. But we've got a lot of work to do, as you know. There are located on the Hanford Reservation over 120 tanks filled with 56 plus million gallons of different levels of nuclear waste that need to be addressed. And over the course of the last couple of decades, a lot of progress has been made in accomplishing that. In fact, the vitrification plant that I hope you are all aware of, I'm sure you are, just, was it last month? Started the one melter, brought it up to the temperature of 2,100 degrees, and it will remain there for its useful life, which could be 5-6 years, something like that. The second melter is planned to be brought up to temperature here within the next month or so. And I think treating the nuclear waste is supposed to happen at least planned to within 12 months or so. So that's really exciting stuff. Those of you that have followed the progress of the vitrification plant, shall we just say it's taken some time. And so we are very happy that we're at this point. We've learned a lot of lessons along the way, set a lot of goals for something that this is the first time ever happening in the world. And so we're very proud of that and very anxious to see this come to fruition. A lot of work to do. And like I said, this is going to take decades to accomplish. Which brings me to my role in that, as well as your role. How does a farmer from Sunnyside, Washington, help get the federal government of the United States to remain committed, both legally and morally, to the task of cleaning up our legacy nuclear waste on the Hanford Reservation? No person can do that by themselves. It takes a village, I guess. And I'm looking at the village that it's going to take to get this done. As you can imagine, the budget that comes to Hanford every year is large enough that it gets noticed by people. And in this environment and this dynamic that we are in today, with, gosh, I can't even keep track. We're at $32.5+ trillion in debt as a country. A lot of interest on the part of Congress to bend the spending curve that the federal government has in order to get back to closer to a balanced budget situation. Let me just tell you, there is pressure on every item in the budget, everything. And that includes nuclear cleanup. And so we have got to continue to make the case. We've got to point to our successes, which there are many. There absolutely are many at Hanford and other places around the country. And as to the importance of our task at hand, we have to continue to educate people. And that is something that never ends. Every year, or every 2 years, excuse me, every new term of Congress, there's a whole new crop of members of Congress, a whole new crop of freshmen that probably have never even heard of Hanford, Washington, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, places around the country that need our attention, need the federal government's commitment. And so frankly, our job never ends. The job of having to educate people as to the obligation that we have as a federal government. And with the pressures that we're seeing in the budget process, my guess is that our job is not going to get any easier anytime soon. And let me just tell you, one of the things that I worry about, Hanford is the largest cleanup site in the country, correct? As other sites get completed, which is a great thing, and our goal to make that happen. I tell you, those of us in South Central Washington will probably start to feel a little bit isolated and removed from everybody else. I want to make one big plea today that no matter what stage we're in, no other sites around the country, where they are, or if they're completed or not, that we all have to continue to spread the message that this is important work that needs to happen. And so just listen to that plea, help us spread that word, help us to continue to educate people, and we will together get this job done. Like I said, the future of Hanford, the future of South Central Washington, the Tri-Cities of Washington State, built on a glorious past of nuclear production, also nuclear energy, but we are very excited about what our future looks like post-cleanup. The small modular reactors, the need for the growing need for more electricity, the desire to have clean, renewable, carbon-free electricity. We think that we are in the epicenter of helping our nation achieve all of those clean energy goals. Those of you that have been to Central Washington, you know that we have an abundance of sunshine. We are situated in a desert, so we can produce solar power like nobody else, or at least similar to a lot of people around the country. There's a proliferation of wind farms that are being built all throughout the Pacific Northwest. All those things are good, but the footprint of a nuclear reactor that produces clean electricity is so much more efficient than all of those other things. I think that that's where our future lies, and that's where the expertise is, the human resource that we have in the Tri-Cities, Washington, is going to allow us to continue to be a leader for a long time in producing clean energy. So my message is brief. We need to be together. We need to make sure that as a team, as partners, that we continue to get the work done of nuclear cleanup. And I applaud you for coming together to continue that conversation and helping me and others like me continue to educate members of Congress so that we can have the resources available, the scarce resources that we have to compete with so many other interests in the federal government, so people don't forget how important nuclear cleanup is. So I want to thank you for allowing me to come and say hello to you. And if there's any message you'd like to give me or a question you'd like to ask me, I'd be happy to entertain those and bring those back to my colleagues as they get back to the Hill. So thank you very much for having me. Okay? I'm being told we don't have time for questions. Okay. All right. All right, thank you very much. Jerome?